Chicken grease in my soul. That's how I roll. KFC, baby. It's my favorite. Oh, give me that bucket. I said, give me that bucket. I think, give me that bucket. A finger licking chicken. From Kentucky to the bayou. The flavor's so right. That secret recipe keeps me up all night. Gotta have that crunch, that wonderful spice. KFC, baby, it's a chicken paradise. Fried and crispy, can't resist me. KFC, a southern mystery, crunchy chicken, finger licking. Come and get it, that clock is ticking. Fried and crispy, don't you miss me. KFC, you're making history. Let's get lost. Oh, keep the cost low. KFC is the gravy gobble. Give me that bucket. I said, give me that bucket. Give me that bucket. Oh, give me that bucket. I said, give me that bucket. Give me that bucket. Oh, give me that bucket.
And we are live. Hello? Is it working? I don't know if I turn my light on. Is this working? I think it's working.
No.
Sorry, all of my settings got effed up on my OBS, so that was pretty cool. So I had to redo everything. Sorry about being late, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome into a Tuesday night cool down. I was supposed to start at 11:15, and then I was having a bunch of issues, and people were messaging me and wondering if I had died. I have not died. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. But I also realize it's been almost, what, a week since I streamed last, because this last week has been insane. But we're here. We're living our dream. So, I hope you guys are doing well
No.
on this auspicious of Tuesdays. Is that the right word? Auspicious? Is it auspicious? I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, technically it is Wednesday morning, yeah, but you know what? It's close enough, right? It's close enough. Sorry, let me see here. Did I already miss who was the first one in chat? Has chat been going so fast that I'm not even at the top of who was there first? Hold on. I'm gonna figure this out. Mika's AI. I'm not AI, I'm a real person. I'm real, guys, I swear. I'm a real boy. Hold on, let me see here. Dang it, I did miss who was at the top of the chat. This is different chat now. It's like cruise through. Who was first in chat? Somebody help me. Was it Turd? It wasn't Turd, was it? I'm just glad this thumbnail made it. Even if Turd was the first in chat, he's the one that made that thumbnail, and I don't think I particularly want to give Turd a soul glow with him running around acting like this. It was Turd that was number one. Okay, who's number two? Andrew Fraser Jr.? Okay. If I didn't think that Turd would make a massive stink about it, if I didn't think that Turd would make a massive deal about it, I would just give the soul glow to Andrew Fraser Jr. But I know Turd well enough to know that if I don't follow protocol, what he's deemed protocol, his autism won't allow him to let it go. His autism won't allow him to let the scenario go. So, Turd Ferguson, against my better judgment, your soul is glowing.
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow, baby. Feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow.
Shout out to Turd Ferguson. Appreciate you. Hope Jose Taco says, Meek, you never read my Rumble rant on Tuesday night's main event. I am sad. I waited all night and never got read. I looked and I didn't see it. So here's the thing, Jose Taco. Rumble's UI, the way that their whole thing works, you have to have like a separate plugin on your browser to even like on YouTube. I can sort through the chat. I can sort through top chat, like, so it's like the most pertinent like people or whatever YouTube considers the top people or whatever. I can do fan funding, which is just pulling up all the super chats and gift memberships and all of that. Or I can just do live chat, which will be the most recent stuff everyone has posted. Rumble does not have that. At least I have not found that in Rumble's chat anywhere. And if you are watching a live stream on Rumble, there is the option to get a plugin for Rumble. And you can use that plugin to pull up a separate section, a separate tab that has all of the Rumble rants in it. Here's the thing. I used it today, pulled it up, and I saw 0 Rumble rants, even though we had already read a couple before Jeremy left. So I don't know if that plugin is damaged, if the Rumble is damaged. And the thing is, with Rumble, if you don't keep the tabs open, like, you can't go back and chat. Like with YouTube, you can go back so far into the chat. On Rumble, you can't. I say all this to let you know that this is a Rumble issue, not a me issue. Because I would have read it. I would have read it. Jose, if you watch daily, don't send in a super chat on daily. If you watch daily, just pop in the chat on daily tomorrow and tell me what your super chat said, and I will read it aloud. I will read it aloud to make it up to you, because I apologize for missing it. It is Rumble's fault. Mickey's plugs are damaged. What? What does that mean? I'm gonna say hi to people in chat. Hi, Angie Blanken. Good to see you. Shout out to Turd Ferguson, Andrew Frazier Jr. We got Sula Felix, Vault 199 Gaming, Metalhead Forever, Sir Stack. What's up, Sir Stack? SSJ Lalo. What's up, buddy? That thumbnail's crazy work. Yeah, it's Turd's fault. We got Hunter. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you. Mako Gray Cat. What's going on? What time is daily going to start tomorrow? I gave up on 11. So, like, 11 is the time that we're supposed to start. If we start a little bit later than that, usually because we're like trying to make sure we have all the details figured out ahead of time. You know? I think the latest it's been is like 11:07 for daily. Not like me being like half an hour late to my own stream. Or 45 minutes late to my own stream. Yeah. 45 minutes late to my own stream, trying to figure out why my shit is not working. Hi, Sissy. Good to see you. I know it's late for you. Steak Slim stream is on time according to Black people time. That's true. We're still technically early. So, hi, Anna. Good to see you. Appreciate you being in here. We got Bunser. We got Lost Braves fan. We got Scrap Iron. Shout out to you guys. Good to see you. What's up, Orion Pax? We got Pendragon. I'm not sharing my bucket. You don't have to. It's appreciated, but you don't have to. This isn't chicken communism or chickenism. You know? It's not chickenism. What's up, Hertz Donut? Blame Ben. You know what, Turd? I do kind of tangentially blame Ben for this as well. So, what's up, Andres the Collector says, looking healthy. Hey, thank you. I'm trying. Ginger Franca says, Meek, why do you depict yourself as a bride in your wedding? You could have been the groom. You chose this. I actually didn't choose this. Turd chose this. Turd made this thumbnail. Okay? And if I want Turd to continue to make thumbnails for me in the future, I know that I have to appease Turd. Okay? Because if I don't, he may stop making them. Or he'll make them worse. You know? So I'm just trying to, like, protect my own interests here. Trying to protect myself, my reputation, my life. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I'm gonna catch up on super chats real quick, and then we're just chatting. We're just chatting. There's like a lot going on, but there's also like not a lot going on. It's like a weird space and time. It's Schrodinger's events. A lot is happening, a lot is not happening, and all of that equals out to me ranting at you guys for an hour and a half on the internet. Eric Stratton gifted 5 gifted memberships.
That's a huge bitch.
Shout out to Eric Stratton. Thank you, my friend, for the gifted memberships. Appreciate you. We got Darth Bane for 5 says, oops, forgot to pay my streaming tax. Now you can start the show. That is, I'm not saying that was the linchpin that got the thing started. I'm saying, notice, show didn't start until Eric Stratton and Darth Bane got things cooking. I'm not saying that that had anything to do with it. They're not related to each other in any way, shape, or form. Okay? The stream is free to watch. I do not require any of your schmeckles or shekels or dollar didgeridoos. But that's wild. Metal Slave for 100 says, punch to the foot. Okay, good night. Is that a diabetes reference? Is that a diabetes reference? Why do you want to punch me in my feet? Why my foot? My foot?
No.
Who punches somebody in the foot? Who? Why the foot, though? You got to explain that. And then she's just going to go to sleep? She's going to pop in here, drop that, punch me in the foot, and leave?
That's a huge bitch.
Why are you gay?
Why my foot? Thank you, Metal Slave. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 100. My goodness gracious. Thank you, Metal Slave. And sleep well. I still want. Why my foot? That's gonna bother me the rest of the night now. Maybe kick puncher from Community. I knew a girl who was into feet. Awful fetish people have. That's like the most common. I'm not gonna get into this on stream. I might get into this on stream. I keep saying I'm not gonna talk about it. It's like the most common like fetish. Like by far, like significantly by far. There's even like scientific precedent for why people like feet. I think the issue is less about feet people like liking feet, because like I know a lot of people that are like, yo, feet are gross, whatever. I don't think it's necessarily the foot part of it. I think for a lot of people, it's how feet people act. Like it's how feet people act. It's like, yo, I get that you like feet. Okay, we're not judging you. Well, we are judging you a little bit. Shall I say? You know what? No, I don't want you to say now. I don't want you to clarify why you want to punch me in the foot. I don't want you to clarify why you want to punch me in the foot. I'm not going to let you. Metal Slave is banned permanently from chat forever. And thank you again, Metal Slave. Appreciate you. Now we've started the thing. Andrew Fraser Jr. says Kata gives us a bad rep. Oh. Andrew Fraser Jr. is like, feet are cute. Okay. He's just living his best life. Turd Ferguson says, judge not by the fetish, but by the content of their character. Yeah, it's not why a foot fetish, it's how the foot fetish. Because some people get out of control with it, and all they're doing is just like thirstily, like just chasing that high, chasing the foot, chasing the toes, toe chasers, toe thirsters. Yeah. And that's a real problem. I've seen people bullied off the internet before because of feet people. They just like, you know, some celebrity or some person, you know, on the internet or something. And she's like at the beach and she's like, oh, hey, I just at the beach today. And everybody's like, yo, toes.
No.
Yo, look at them toes. Hey, yo, look at them feet, bruh. That sounds just like Kata. You know, oh my gosh, like, look how nice it is. And it's like, listen, it's okay to like the feet, but like, do you got to say it out loud? Do you got,
No.
it's like in that movie, if you haven't seen the movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey, where he's in an elevator and this one lady gets in the elevator with him that has like really big boobs or whatever. And like, you don't have to say anything. Like, it's not a lie of omission to not publicly admit or talk about somebody's toes or their feet. But like, he's in the elevator and the girl gets in and she's like, oh, hi, or whatever. And he's like, oh, you must be new here. She's like, yeah, it's my first week. Everybody's really nice here. And he goes, oh yeah, that's because you have huge boobs. He goes, I mean, your boobs are huge. I mean, I want to squeeze them. I mean, it's like, you don't have to scream all that out. You don't have to yell that out to people. You can keep it to yourself. And then, you know what? Then we don't have to have people going around like blurring their feet out of photos or cropping their feet out of photos because foot guys can't handle themselves. Just control yourself. Okay? And then you could eat for days on people just posting selfies or whatever they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's got big chest. It's wild. I'm not all about feet. Nerdy Mechanic. Hi, Nerdy Mechanic says I wasn't expecting a foot stream. It's kind of like the Spanish Inquisition. No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition. No one ever expects a foot stream. But I just, you know, where do those cropped out feet go? To the island of cropped out feet. There's just like an island, like kind of like the island of misfit toys, but it's just people's feet that have been cropped out of photos. Reminder chat, you too can derail a Meek stream. Yeah, it really doesn't take much. We're not talking about feet the rest of the stream, okay? I'm not going to do that. I won't let that happen. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 10 says, Mike, you giving us Jamaicans a run for our money with the lateness today. Him only have 2 job. Him only have 2 job. That reminded me, I gotta find this. There's a video I saw the other day of a guy, what was it? He was like, it was supposed to be like him talking to a Jamaican guy. You already got me on another tangent. It was him talking to a Jamaican guy at, what's it called? I don't even remember anymore. I think it was at Home Depot or something like that, or Lowe's. Hold on. I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find this. I wish TikTok worked better. Hold on. I'm gonna find this. I'm not crazy, chat. This is it's funny. I thought it was funny. Hold on. I'm gonna find this. I'm pulling a Jeremy right now. I always judge Jeremy for the way that he like explains to people that he's trying to pull up a video. And then I'm doing it myself. So now I'm here we go. There's it. Ooh, floated player. What
Excuse
is
me,
that?
sir.
No, I don't do that. Hold on. All right, I think this is it. Yeah, this is it right here. This is actually pretty good. When Home Depot starts hiring Jamaicans, I was like, this is actually pretty fucking fun. Work does not fucking work. You know what? It's just not gonna work. What are we doing? Is this how tonight's gonna go? Am I just gonna have tech issues the rest of the night? Is this how today's gonna go? Really? Okay, there we go. I gotta know. I'm not crazy. Maybe a little bit crazy.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
How may I help
I'm
you?
trying to get the generator up top there, the 3000.
Up top. Which one exactly you talking
That
about?
one.
Oh, the one on the top shelf.
So let me ask you a question. If you can't reach it, how you expect me to reach it?
No, I thought because you work
When
here,
you
you
talk
know.
wrong, you blasted idiot. What you try to say? Home Depot hire super
No,
people?
sir, but because you work.
But how me to reach it? How you expect me to reach it?
Can you get somebody that can help?
Nobody in here can reach it. None of we can reach it.
All right, so how am I supposed to get? How am I supposed to get it?
Go buy a ladder. Go buy a ladder. Ladder sitting on the back of the store. Go buy a ladder and
Right,
come
sir.
back, come reach it.
I just want to get.
Go buy a ladder and come out of the store. Come out of the store.
Hey, have a good night,
Come
Frank.
out
Appreciate
of
you,
the
bro.
store. Come out of the store.
I just want.
It's not for sale anymore. Come out of the store.
Dude, I don't know why Jamaican impressions kill me, dude. Hey, Sissy, have a good night. Appreciate you. Have a good night. Thank you guys for stopping in. I know I got started super late. Frank, thank you. I know this is like really late for Frank. Damn. Appreciate you popping in. Are those words? I think they're supposed to be words. Yeah. I think that how super people. Yeah, it was. I thought that shit was hilarious. I don't know why, but this like Jamaican accents like kill me, dude. Like people making fun of Jamaican accents. Like that shit is the funniest stuff to me. So. Let me see here. Let me get caught up on these super chats. Fuck, I keep going on tangents. I'm so behind on chat right now. Cannon for 2 says, did you watch Ghost Rider? Mystery Series. I did watch Ghost Rider. Yeah, it was on PBS. That shit was rad. It was like a ghost and he helped solve crimes, but he like had to like use words in like a book. Ghost Rider. And then they like rebooted it briefly. They like rebooted it and it was like Ghost Rider the new adventures or some shit like that, and it wasn't nearly as cool. It was actually a little bit like more cringe. Let me see here. Ghost Rider. Yeah, dude, it's been so long since I watched Ghost Rider. That one and then like Wishbone, which they weren't on at the same time, but they were kind of similar. Let me see if I could find the opening of it. Is this it? Yeah, this is it right here. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a blast from the past. I really hope I don't get in trouble for this one. I'm gonna though. Shout out to Keenan, by the way. Mike is the Jamaican guy. I mean, probably. That sounds like a crash out I would have.
We don't know where he came from.
He just showed up one night.
What is that thing?
He's not an alien.
What is he?
We think he might be a ghost.
Be serious.
Dude, this is so old school. I also did not realize how like awful the these intros were. Like, these 90s intros were like out of control. Like there's no reason for all of the energy that's injected into this. There's a video that tells you who the ghost is in Ghost Rider. What? Is that real? Is that real?
You can see that?
He wants to be friends with us.
You think you saw this in class? Oh, I'm sure, dude.
He can't hear and he can't talk. He can read anything.
I love it. He's just this like lazy, like fucking ghost. And he's like, I'm not going to talk to these people. I can interact with the world in ways that like I can openly manifest into the world. I can manipulate everything around you. I can manipulate words on a page or words on like a brick wall. I can manipulate paintings and do all these things, but like, I'm not going to talk to these people. I'm never going to have a conversation with these people. I'm just going to like make them read.
He takes letters and he writes with them.
We're the only ones who can see him.
I forgot about Grandma Jenkins. What a name. Imagine the pitch for that. Like you have some like coked out exec who's pitching an idea because everybody was like on coke in the 80s and 90s, trying to pitch an idea to PBS. He goes, I don't know, man. Like, it's like a ghost. The kids, they're kids, and then like there's a ghost, and he like he can read. Okay? And they're like, okay. And they're like, yeah, the ghost can read. And then he helps the kids. And there's also a lady, like a grandma, like a grandma. I'm like, okay, a grandmother. What's the grandmother's name? I don't know, man. Grandma Jenkins. Yeah, that's it. Grandma Jenkins. And that's, and she's in this show too.
See him. That means he wants you on the team.
You have to promise never to tell anybody about Ghost Rider.
Hey, cool.
I'm like, why
Why
are they making a pact to not talk about Ghost Rider? I don't even remember why they can't tell people about him. That's the other thing. Like, is there? I don't remember if there was a rule or not. Yeah, like, dude, the 90s were a weird time. The 90s were a weird time. And then I think there was, like I said, I think there was a... Yeah, there was. Okay, so there was another one. It's called The New Ghost Rider's Mystery. Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is the other one. And I don't think this one even got like any multiple seasons. I think this only got one season. And I remember as a kid hating this opening. I never watched this show. I watched the original Ghost Rider, but I refused to watch the new Ghost Rider Adventures because I hated the intro so much. They'd get beat up for knowing how to read. They're like, hey, you can read? Yeah, Ghost Rider taught me how to read. And then he just gets the crap kicked out of him. Nerd. Hey, BDSM Beardo. Okay, let me read your super chat real quick. You got to work tomorrow. Hey, have a good night. BDSM Beardo for $1 says nothing. That profile picture is out of control, by the way. That profile picture is completely and utterly out of control and ridiculous. Thank you for the $1. Appreciate you. But yeah, Ghost Rider, the new Ghost Rider Mysteries. There's no exposition or anything in this one. And the other one, they're like, and they're like, he's a ghost and he can read. He only uses words. We don't ever talk about Ghost Rider. Oh, that's Ghost Rider. That's awesome. And Grandma Jenkins. And this one, they're just like, fucking Ghost, bro. Like, just watch. Anyways, Keenan, thank you for the blast from the past. And then I would be remiss not to pull up the opening to Wishbone. Although I know I'm probably going to get in trouble. Wait, is PBS still around? Didn't PBS, like, I can go out of business or some shit? Didn't they get shut down? Didn't they get shut down? They're not around anymore. They can't sue me, right? They own the rights to this, but they're not here anymore, right? Chat, is that true? PBS is gone, right? PBS is gone. Okay, so they can't copyright claim this because they're gone. Okay. I will say this, like, unironically, Wishbone slaps. Wishbone absolutely slaps, and we didn't realize how good we had it from, like, an educational standpoint on some of these shows, because Wishbone was covering everything. Wishbone was covering everything. Jake Stanley says, for 2 says, there's a Wishbone documentary coming out soon. What? Yo, if you got a link to that, drop that. That's crazy. Yeah, like they did not. What's up, Soundwave Superior? Dude, yeah, this show was good, but they covered a lot of classics, man. And then they do like the reenactments and like, yeah. PBS is still on the air, are they? Okay. Yeah, Rip Van. That's the Rip Van Winkle one. Ivanhoe. Yeah, we did not realize how good we had it back in the day with entertainment. We were spoiled as shit, dude. Magic School Bus. Magic School Bus was great too. A lot of really good Magic School Bus stuff. I did not realize, but the very first episode of Magic School Bus was the one where they go into space with Arnold's cousin, and Arnold kills himself in like space. If you didn't know this, if you have not watched this, yeah, like straight up, they go to like Mars or some shit in the Magic School Bus, and Arnold gets pissed at his cousin. He's like, "I'm sick of you," and he just goes like, "Ugh!" And he like takes his fucking helmet off in space and just freezes into a block of ice and dies. Yep. There's a trailer. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. There's a trailer for it. Okay, let's pull this up. I know. Oh, only a month ago. Like, wow, this is new. Damn. Okay. I guess we're talking about PBS tonight, y'all.
I don't know if anyone else has attempted to do this much for a children's show before.
His name is Wishbone, and he stars in his own...
Thank you, Pluto. I didn't remember if it was Mars or what planet it was. Yeah, Pluto, and he just fucking dies. And then they have to, like, save his life. But I'm just like, yo. The nigga just took his helmet off in space and died. And they were just kind enough not to make his head explode.
Television series.
It's a show about a remarkable dog who will introduce millions of kids to great books.
Giving children an excitement for reading.
It was kids and dogs.
That's pretty rad, actually.
The most expressive dog I've ever seen on a camera.
This made everybody want
to... an actor. You're working with another actor.
This made everybody want to become a... oh my gosh, that's the mom? Holy cow, that's crazy. This made like everybody want to go get a Jack Russell Terrier, not realizing that they're like kinetic balls of energy that desperately need like owners that can keep up with them. And yeah, wildly irresponsible just to grab one of those if you don't know what to do as a dog owner.
Whole group of people that came together to work on something that they had never really done.
It was my first film set. I didn't know what all these people were
Oh my gosh, that's the neighbor.
I don't know anything. I was so naive.
To go from getting a script to shooting it in 1 week, it sounds impossible.
It was a fast pace.
Because this was unlike anything anybody had done.
We all had the same question, which was, how are we going to do this?
Dude, I'm going to tell you guys now, if you haven't watched this, like, if you guys have not watched Wishbone, the fact that they were, pumping this out week after week, was no joke, because they were covering everything, dude.
Hey, Ellen! It's dinner time!
The reason we could do what we did was because that dog could perform.
What if the dog were the real hero in the story?
Nanny goes to Wishbone.
That's actually kind of rad. Now that I know that exists, if it's not already out, at some point I'm gonna go check this out. That's actually fucking awesome. Let me see if I can find out where it's at. Where's it gonna be at? Oh, learn more here. All right, I'm gonna go here. Airs on public television stations May 27th. In 7 days. And then available June 10th for rent or purchase on major digital platforms. That's awesome, dude. Jake Stanley, thank you for bringing this up to me, man. I'm going to bookmark this and save this. That's so fucking cool. Yeah, that brought back so many memories, dude. Ghost Rider 1992, The Weird Rise and Sudden Fall look up. I saw something like that when I typed in Ghost Rider. Let me see here. The Weird Rise and Sudden Fall. All right, I'll save that and I'll check it out. Got that saved. Thank you. Yeah, I'll check that out. I didn't know that they actually answered who Ghost Rider was. That's actually kind of cool. It's going to be like Mark Twain or some shit. It's going to be the spirit of Mark Twain. He's just, the reason he doesn't talk is because he's going to use the N-word too many times. Imba Franker Z for 5. Woke up from a nap today to see Tuesday's main event, and it was all the boring Caucasians. No Miki, Fudafil or Kada. Diversity really is G&G's strength. Yeah. So for people that don't know, I fell asleep. I didn't go to bed legitimately until 3 o'clock this afternoon. And I fell asleep and slept right through my alarm. Directly through my alarm. Didn't hear it go off. Woke up and I was like, oh, I gotta go. So, yeah, it was kind of a nuts thing. Is Magic School Bus still around? Yes. There was Netflix owns the rights, I believe, to Magic School Bus. I don't know if they're still doing seasons. I think they stopped doing seasons, but they did a couple new seasons of Magic School Bus. And then it was Miss Frizzle's sister that took over. Yeah, Miss Frizzle's sister took over, and she was voiced by Kate McKinnon, because they were continuing the tradition of having a lesbian play the teacher. Like, ironically, I think that that's actually legitimately what happened. But Kate did a pretty good job. And then I was kind of mad about it when they announced that, because I was like, I'm not going to watch it if it doesn't have Miss Frizzle. Miss Frizzle's in the show. She's just like on vacation doing her own thing, because the original Miss Frizzle was voiced by Lily Tomlin. So yeah, they've already, I don't know I don't think they have any more of it. Let me see here. Where's season 2 at? Come on, Wishbone. What's the story, Wishbone? Nope, they stopped. It stopped in 2021. So they did. Let me see here. Second season premiered in 2018. And then they did 3 45-minute specials, Kids in Space, The Frizz Connection, and In the Zone in 2020. And then there was a 4th special that was never released, but was released on DVD. Huh. That's right, yeah. Miss Frizzle got her PhD and retired from teaching at the elementary school. And then her sister taught the class. And her sister was magic too, but her sister was a little bit more unhinged than she was. And yeah, somebody asked in the chat, Miss Frizzle could bench like 300 pounds. She'd like fall from like great heights without taking any damage. And in my opinion, a lot of people ask if she's a Time Lord. She might be a Time Lord. She's pretty close to a Time Lord. She's pretty fucking close to a Time Lord. Because it's heavily implied she's the one with the magic. And I think if I remember correctly, at one point, they like lose the bus and they can't find it. And she's like, I can't do magic without the bus. And then like weird shit still happens without the bus, because it's like the Doctor without his TARDIS. It's like he's still the Doctor. So yeah. But yeah, the reboot wasn't bad. I remember watching parts of the reboot. It wasn't bad. It was fine. If I remember correctly, it wasn't as like heavily educational. Like there's a little bit more like narrative to each episode than in the original, but it still slaps. The show slaps. So, and Miss Frizzle, legit OG. Like Lily Tomlin could get it. Miss Frizzle was kind of a crush of mine. Hot for teacher. Andrew, I gotta get to these fucking super chats. Stop. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 109 says Wednesday morning wake. Hey, thank you. Real Grey. Real Grey goes for 5. Better late than never, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Sorry about that, chat. Sorry about that. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 5 says, Mike got into a DBZ debate with one of my friends the other day. I said Vegeta did more damage in the Cell Saga than Goku. Thoughts? I think that's... Is that accurate? Yeah, that's accurate. I think that's accurate. Vegeta was whooping some ass in the Cell Saga. I mean, it really came down to Gohan was the deciding factor in the Cell Saga. Yeah. Star Trek found LeVar Burton through Reading Rainbow. Yes. Kunta Kinte to Reading Rainbow. To Geordie LaForge. It's quite the journey. I wish I were LeVar Burton. Wait, you like Miss Frizzle? I had a big crush on Miss Frizzle. And ironically, it's probably more irony than anything. I married a redhead. I ended up marrying a redhead because, listen, redheads are a real problem. Redheads are a real problem. I'm reminded when Joe replaced Steve. Yeah, that might be the worst casting replacement ever. When Steve had to leave and Joe came in, he's like, "Hey, I'm Joe. I'm gonna take over." I'm like, "You're not the same. You're a fucking liar, Joe. You're a fucking imposter." He just didn't have the same energy. He wasn't enjoyable. He just didn't. I don't know what it was, man. It felt like he's talking down to you. You know. I don't know what it was. Blue's Clues was just never the same. It just was never the same. Hold on. Let's see if I can.
Thanks.
That was the episode where he left. Hold on. We're not going to watch this whole thing because I'm going to get choked up. And also, I'm already deep into the algorithm probably hitting my channel. But I don't fucking care. We just got to do what we got to do around here. Should I date a redhead or just get a non-redhead and bully her into dyeing her hair? Neither. If you can't handle her at her red hairist, don't make her one. Don't make her one. Yeah, the guy that plays Steve, he actually has been on. Oh man, he's been on a ton of stuff lately, like doing interviews and stuff and talking about why he left the show and why he didn't stick around. And yeah, part of it was he was losing his hair, he was going bald and stuff like that. But he does stuff now and he just does like really positive content now. There's a video that was circulating on the internet for a little bit of the girl who was this deciding factor and why he even got the job, because her mom was like the executive who was trying to decide whether or not they were gonna pull the trigger on Blue's Clues, and her daughter really liked Steve. She was like, she thought Steve was awesome. And so she was like, okay, I guess that's our guy. So she hired him because of her daughter. And then years later, she's like a grown woman now. And I think she does like cosplay or something. And she was like at a signing and he showed up at the con that she was at and they like met each other. It was like really sweet. So.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I'll miss you too.
Look at Joe. Look at Joe's smug ass. He's like, "Whew, I wish he'd get the fuck out of here. I wish he would leave so I can take over his house." Like, that's the thing, man. How many people do you know? People leave to go like off to college. And then their brother just takes over their whole house. I'm kind of wondering if Joe didn't force Steve out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I start to wonder sometimes if there's some kind of conspiracy here.
Joe, remember, Blue's paw prints will be on the clue.
What's up, call sign hi, Hush?
Blue's Clues? Exactly.
Yes, you fucking idiot. That's what the name of the show is, Joe. Like, they're pretty basic. It's called Blue's Clues. Of course.
Blue's paw prints will be on the clues. Blues Clues? Exactly.
This is your job, man. Have some fucking decorum, Joe. This is why I didn't like Joe. This is why I could not stand Joe. Damn son didn't need the sadness tonight. You know, I want to be sad, but now I'm just mad. Now I'm just angry with Joe.
Boo this man!
Thanks again for all your help.
Look, he even tries to push. Oh, this smug fuck. Look at him. He practically pushes him out the door. What an asshole. I hate Joe. I listen, it's not fair to Joe. I'm sure some people liked him. I couldn't handle it. Yes, I did see when Steve came back. Yeah. I watched that episode. Because I was like, yo, Steve came back. Yeah. It was a huge thing. When my older brother left for college, I took over his bedroom. Yeah, but like imagine if your older brother owned like a whole house and everything and like pets and like talking like living like furniture and shit, and then he was like, hey, I gotta go to college, and you're like, cool, I'll take it all. What's up, King Alucard? How you doing? Says Steve also left to focus on his music career. Oh, that's right, yeah, because he's in a band. Anger is better than sadness. That's true. That's true. Joe's alright, wasn't the same. Yeah, and then Joe left. Fucking asshole, couldn't even stick with it, and he left. He got replaced by an Asian guy. Wait a minute, this aired in 2002. Meek would have been 12, yes. But my sister was 5, 6. So, yeah. Is Mike having some PTSD because his dad leaving him? Joke's on you. I never knew him at all. So, there was no PTSD to have. Can't get abandoned if you've never been around. We found the hack. That's how we get around it. Avoid all trauma by never engaging. Don't take, that's not real advice. Don't do that. That's unhealthy. Real Grey Goes for 5 says, I heard from the Meek Revenue Service that this chat has to like the stream so the audits and increased taxes will continue till morale improves. There's no tax. It's free to watch this. But also accurate. Accurate. Weird Robot for 5 says, you are a raging homosexual. Don't let this sound take that away from you. It's not that. It's Raging Psychopath, but that was from, I borrowed that from Key and Peele. Thank you for the 5.
Why are you gay?
Jake Stanley for 2 says, do you still play tabletop RPGs? Every week. Every week, every Sunday, I go hang out with my good friends in person, and we play in a system right now that's called Absolute Power. It is based on... it is the second edition of a system called Silver Age Sentinels. I'm curious if anybody in chat has ever played it. When did Silver Age Sentinels come out? 2002. So that was published in 2002. And we played that system for a long time, and it uses the D20 version, but I don't like D20. We used what is it? The DX system is what it uses. Which is like 2d10, keep the roll under, and then they rebooted it last year and made it Absolute Power, or not last year, year before last. Hold on, when did Absolute Power drop? Absolute Power came out in 2002 or 2022. Damn, it's been that many years. Anyway, so Absolute Power came out, and that was like the next edition of this. It kind of changed things and how the system runs. No. And now it's 2d6 roll above like a target number. But yeah, I play that. We've been playing in that game for well over a year now, I think. Yeah, we've been playing that for like well over a year now. I talked about that character a little bit, even because we're in like a superhero setting, which is like a fictionalized version of New York City, which is significantly bigger than New York City. It's like a ramped up version of our world. I'm not going to go into all of the details on that system or like all that world and stuff, but the system is awesome. You can pretty much make anything you want. Coming up on 2 years. Damn. Yeah, so we've been in that setting for 2 years. And we're playing like the very first superheroes in that setting. It's pretty rad. I really enjoyed that game. I've had an absolute blast in it. So yeah, I definitely still play tabletop RPGs. Werewolf the Apocalypse is still my favorite. I really like Absolute Power. I like Silver Age Sentinel as well, just that setting and superheroes. And we play various other ones, 7th Sea. You know, I've done some Savage Worlds in person and then on the internet and stuff. So yeah. You ever played D&D? Oh yeah, I've played a lot of D&D. That was how I got started, was D&D. I think D&D is a good stepping stone. I personally don't really like the D&D system anymore. I've gone on so many rants on this channel about that. I just think it's heavily restrictive, and I think it actively works against players and player fun, unless that's specifically what you like. And then it's exactly what any player could ever want. But I think there are better systems. I prefer the role-playing side of things. I like combat that has like some substance to it, but the problem with D&D is that it is overly focused on combat. And in my opinion, develops a antagonistic relationship between player and GM or DM or whatever. And I don't like that antagonistic relationship between. It's supposed to be collaborative. You know, you don't actively fight against your computer to like, or your gaming console to like do things. You know, it's a collaborative thing. Like you're running, even though that's like not a great analogy, but like you're working together on something. It's a collaborative storytelling effort. And D&D often poses it in a way where it makes it where the DM versus the players, and that makes things wildly less interesting and more of like sometimes it could get into like a dick swinging contest. Who can break the system the most? And that bothers me a lot. I hate that shit. So, yeah. But I do play D&D. I have played it. I've played 3.5. I got really into Pathfinder. I like Pathfinder a lot. I played a lot of Pathfinder first edition. I don't think I've played any second edition of Pathfinder. And I've played 5e, quite a bit of 5e as well. So but yeah, I love tabletop RPGs. I fucking love doing TTRPGs. Keel Alec for 2 says, new Genshin update is out. Where you at, Meek? I haven't even touched it. I pulled up Genshin for the first time in like a month and a half. Like, I think like last week. Looked around, went, I don't remember what I'm doing. And then I uninstalled it. Or not uninstalled it. I turned it off. I haven't uninstalled it. I like Genshin, but there's so many games I'm trying to play right now. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 109 says, Mike, Kata's new name is Toe Jam Jim. That sounds about right. Hey, shout out to Toe Jam Jim. That's gross. Yeah, right now, so I was playing Slay the Spire, trying to take a break off of that. I got really, really, really obsessed with Where Winds Meet for a while. Like, obsessed. And I had to stop myself because I only played that. I played Windrose. Windrose is awesome. Great to play like an actual pirate game for a change. I hate the survival mechanics still, but Windrose is awesome. And then I got like really into Cyberpunk for a little bit. I just started playing through Cyberpunk again for a while, finishing up like old quest lines and stuff like that for my first playthrough, because they've added new content since then. So Cyberpunk is awesome, and then like was readjusting and like kind of maximizing like my character's potential because I'm running like a Netrunner sword build. So I was playing Cyberpunk, and then when I'm doing nights with my kid, I use him on my Xbox, and I started playing Hades again because Hades is like a good fun feedback loop with some kind of story stuff, challenging combat, but also doesn't require a heavy investment. and that lack of investments has been kind of nice. And like not having to get super heavily involved in the game like that, and pay attention to it all. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff right now I've been trying to play through and like catch up on. I started playing Warhammer, Chaos Gate, the Grey Knight game. I've been trying to play through that again because like I haven't touched it in forever. So I've been playing some of that like in some of my off time, and then I started Lords of the Fallen. I have 30 minutes into Crimson Desert and have not touched it again. I like Crimson Desert. I want to do more with it, but I haven't touched it. And I probably should at some point do something with that, because a lot of people keep saying they love Crimson Desert. So, got BDSM Beardo. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 109 says, Mike, the guy in the video is Jamaican. Is he? Okay, well, that's why he's so good at it. You think we're hiring super people. Jake Stanley for 2 says, Wishbone was better than Ghost Rider. Hands down. It's not even close. Wishbone was so good. Dude, the stories they covered in Wishbone alone. Like, let me see here. He did so many classics. It's funny because I had read some of these books before watching Wishbone. Wait, hold on. Is it because Wishbone? Hold on. Let me see here. Hold on. Is it opposite? 1995, 1997. Okay. So it was because of Wishbone that I read these books. Not after. Although they'd rewatch like stuff later that I had already, like, I didn't watch every single episode of Wishbone, but they covered a lot of classics, and because of that, that's what led me to kind of get into like a lot more classic novels and stuff. Let me see if I can go down the list of all the books he covered. Man, because they went over everything. I still can't believe some of the stories that they cast too. Do they have a list of all the books? They don't, do they? That's kind of weird. Yeah, I'm trying to go through like every I know they did a TV show, or I mean like a TV movie. Okay, so they did The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Oliver Twist, Romeo and Juliet, The Odyssey, Anansi the Spider and the People Could Fly, Cyrano de Bergerac, The Hound of the Baskervilles, Rip Van Winkle, The Personal Recollections of Joan of Arc, Don Quixote, Faust. They fucking covered Faust. So fucking wild to me. Ivanhoe, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Silas Marner, A Tale of Two Cities, Frankenstein, Journey to the Center of the Earth, 1001 Nights, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Imaginary Invalid, The Purloined Letter, The Time Machine, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood, Pride and Prejudice, The Prince and the Pauper, The Count of Monte Cristo, Treasure Island, David and Goliath, The Scandal in Bohemia, The Red Badge of Courage, The Tempest, The Three Musketeers, Hercules and the Golden Apple. Man, I forgot I actually read The Red Badge of Courage as well. I forgot about that. Our Lady of Guadalupe, Metamorphosis, The Phantom of the Opera, The Story of the Deathless Voice, The Inspector General, and then they did like a shotgunning of them. That was just season 1. That's 40 episodes of television. That's just one fucking season, dude. That's insane. That's insane, dude. I cannot believe that they covered that many in just one season. They really don't make television like they used to. Yeah. Season 2, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Henry IV, Part 1, Great Expectations, The Courtship of Miles Standish, The Black Arrow, The Moonstone, Monkey, Journey to the West, Northanger Abbey, and Aeneid? Huh. That's nuts, dude. I did not realize they covered that many stories back then. Those shows were just on another level.
No.
Agent Andrew Fraser Jr. for 5 says, Mike, I meant Vegeta making Cell reach his final form did more damage than Goku giving us. Oh, you mean the opposite? I mean, because in my opinion, Vegeta kind of is the GOAT in the Cell arc. Goku, to me, Vegeta and Piccolo are the GOATs of the Cell saga. And then Gohan obviously coming in clutch at the end. I like Goku. But yeah, it was, yeah. I could see that argument. I still think Goku giving that Senzu beam was fucked up though. Real Gregos for 5 says Mike hates playing in real life because his friends always want to play hide and seek with his prosthetic legs.
Diabetes.
That's wild, dude. Oleander for 20 says nothing. Well, thank you, Oleander, for the 20. I appreciate that. Jeremy the Cyborg for 5 says newest updates of my guides bring Terminators, Mr. Handies from Fallout 4, and undead playable races. Dude, hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Thank you for the 5, bro, and killing it on the guides, dude. Thank you. SCD, remember, for 6 months, Chaos Gate on stream for the Emperor. I could always play Chaos Gate on stream. I'm not going to start a brand new playthrough of it just because I typically don't do that with games like strategy games like that. Once I play through them once, I don't go back. But yeah, I could do that. I got an Interceptor to rank 5, and I got one of the Justicars to rank 5. Voldred Storm, and then Iolanthus is like the other guy. But yeah, so I just got them both to like rank 5. But yeah, Chaos Gate's rad. I would play that on stream. Right. It might just be like one where it's like a casual stream, we're just hanging out, and I maybe pull it up and play it in the background. Harbinger, member for 12 months, says my subscription service message. Any word on Discord, and have you returned to Tainted Grail? Beardo, bald, and flat. The Discord is pretty much ready. I believe Turd is in the Discord now. I have all my mods in the Discord. I just got to remember to open it up to you guys. So hopefully later this week, I'll have it open up to you guys. This week has been the last couple of weeks have been very ridiculous. This last month has been rough. That's why I haven't been streaming as much. Just a lot of stuff going on with the little one. A lot of hospital visits and doctor's visits and driving back and forth and stuff. So it's just been a lot. The only reason I'm even streaming this late normally is because I don't normally stream late at night because Lady Epic is the one getting up in the morning with the kids, but she is currently staying with the little one while she's on her latest stint at her specialist in the hospital. So, and I'm okay. That's not like a sympathy thing. It's just like it happens. It is part of raising a child with significant special needs. It's just part of our life now. I don't resent it at all. It's just a lot. It gets to be a lot, and something's got to give at some point, and a lot of times it's just, you know, I got to take time to like rest or think properly. Imba Franker Z for 5 says modern retelling of Faust. Beardo sells his south mouth to Jeremy in order to make Bro Island a reality.
Get your hand off my penis! What is wrong with you people? Huh?
Do it.
Do it! Come on, kill me! I'm here! Come on, do it now! Kill me!
Me bamba!
Thank you, Franker Z. Mohiga, member for 3 months. Tyson lasted longer than Gina and was older. Love Gina, but come on. You guys want to talk about Gina Carano? You guys, a lot of people are going to get mad at me. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 199 says, nah, Mike, Goku just believed in his son. Like, yes, but also, like, Goku assumed that Gohan was a fighter, and Gohan's a lover. He's also a fighter, so I don't get any ideas, but, like, Gohan was a softy boy. He was a scholar and a gentleman, and I respect the hell out of Gohan for that. And I know he had all this power and all this latent ability. I get it, but like Goku sometimes just was a very irresponsible dad. I don't think he didn't love his kids. I just think sometimes he assumed that everybody was like him and just wants to fight the biggest guy in the room. But shut up. No, I do love the Cell Saga is one of my favorite anime arcs ever. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 5 says, question, how does Discord work? It's just like a chat space. There's like different channels in it that you can look at and talk to people and chat with people and have different conversations, stuff like that. And then I'll be like hosting watch parties on there. So a lot of times I'll have like my screen up, or I'll just have my face up, and then you guys can actually actively chat with me, things like that. Well, there's a lot of different ways to do with that. So Miki, did my membership go missing? No, you're a member right there. So you're a member right there. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's part of life, man. It's how it goes. So Andy Fraser Jr. for another 5 says, prayers for you and the fam, Mike. I know it doesn't fix much, but we're here for you. No, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Paul chose not to knock out Tyson. It was done in the first round. That's true. But Tyson was injured, and he admitted that later, that he was injured. He had almost died, and they didn't want to keep postponing the fight. And I think that they should have. I think he also overtrained. He shouldn't have trained us. I think he should have got back into shape, trained as much as he did, and then I think he should have just went out there and done his thing. So, blame Chi-Chi for that. I would blame Chi-Chi for that, except Chi-Chi also trained Goten, and Goten was rocking Super Saiyan as a child. Like when Chi-Chi locked in and went, you know what? My kids are going to have to be fighters. She trained them well. Chi-Chi knows what's up. Chi-Chi's also best wife. I know people say Bulma. If I had to pick between Bulma or Chi-Chi, I'd pick Chi-Chi every time. Chi-Chi every time. Imba Ferger Z. Welcome to the Meek. Shout out, thank you. All right, do we want to talk about Gina? Oh, Lost Braceman said you sent a member message. You don't know if it got lost. Okay. Let me look. Hold on. Let me look here. Let me look. Oh, here it is. Nope, I found it. I got you. It skipped on me. That's why I didn't see it. So, Lost Braceman, member for 17 months.
That's a huge bitch.
Thank you, says Miki. I have money on you in the tournament. Use that coin power with your bionic leg to take Phil down. Listen, Tree Bear is a real menace. Tree Bear put together a tournament that had he put together a tournament. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, I can find this. Hold on. Yeah, he put together like a fake like tournament for us, and he had me going up against Phil. First of all, the bionic leg is ridiculous. But yeah, hold on. This is the photo from Tree Bear. Also, Tree Bear got blocked by Johnny. Johnny blocked Tree Bear finally. He couldn't handle it anymore. He's like, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. So the thing is, the bionic leg is pretty nuts. The thing is like it's the coin arms. The coin arms are like no joke. Like I would want to get hit with those. So I appreciate you having my back, Lost Braves fan, because yeah, those coin arms are a problem. Also, Lost Braves fan for 2 says Magic School Bus was the best. Yes, it was. Yeah, I see that where when it jumped on me. I see where I missed those. So apologies. Thank you for saying something. Kendon B for $1 says nothing. Hey, what's up, Kendon? How you doing, buddy? Tree Bear's a master, yeah. The coin fist, yeah, like he actually kind of did me right. I mean, I'm still fat as fuck in this, but that's fine. We'll make it work. Phil's all jacked and shit, and then he's like, yeah, and then this fat guy with his fucking bionic leg. Although he made the bionic leg look pretty cool. It's like integrated into like the shoe. Yeah, that's pretty wild though. Shout out to Tree Bear. He sometimes does me dirty. Sometimes I see him, I'm like, I want to block this guy, but I don't. I don't let it happen. Let's talk about Gina real quick. Okay, I do want to talk about it. So the Gina fight was this weekend. Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey. This event overall was run by Jake Paul. You know, I've watched a lot of UFC. I've watched a lot of MMA events. I've watched some Pride events. I've been to like in-person MMA fights. The thing I'm going to say about this is that these fights are all unpredictable. You can, within reason, predict certain things that are going to happen. I think all of us were very aware that between the two of them on paper, Ronda had a pretty significant advantage. Younger, been out of the game a shorter amount of time, and had something that is devastating. If you don't have it, it's devastating to not have it, which is a ground game. Gina's never been, she has a decent ground game, but she was not facing a decent ground game person. She was facing Ronda Rousey, who is one of the best submission specialists in the women's division. One of the greatest of all time when it comes to submissions. 9 wins by submission. That should tell you something. A lot of people did not like the event. I can understand why people didn't like it. There was only one fight that went past the first round. I personally enjoyed the event quite a bit. I think that the fights were what they were. The Francis Ngannou fight was pretty rad, actually. I like Francis Ngannou. For a promotion that's not UFC, I don't know. I don't know that I could have asked for like more than what happened. The disappointing part is if you haven't watched any Ronda fights, if this was your first MMA event, I think in a lot of people's heads, they either compare it to boxing or professional wrestling. I think it's in a lot of people's heads, what UFC is either performative or it's competitive, but not in the same way. UFC is not like that. UFC is not like that at all. UFC is brutal, and the point is to not leave it to the judges to decide. I have been to so many or helped pay for so many like pay-per-views where we were all excited and the main event didn't even get through the first round before it was over. And then we all have to kind of like sit around and then leave. But the reality was we all knew if it went to the ground, it was over. Gina just didn't have the ground game. The stand-up game was where she was at. And that fight started, and I watched Ronda shoot for her, and you could see as soon as she grabbed Gina and Gina didn't sprawl, it was done. As soon as she didn't sprawl, it was done. And you can watch the playback about this. Here's what I'm going to say. I was disappointed that she didn't win. I was disappointed that it didn't go longer. We didn't get to see her strike and throw down with Ronda, because I would have loved it. Even if she still lost, I would have loved for her to be able to throw down with Ronda. I don't think there's anybody more disappointed than Gina in the fact that she didn't get to fight. She said it at the end. I had more. I wanted to actually fight. I was hoping I got to throw down. I was hoping I got to fight. Ronda put her away like Ronda does. Most of Ronda's career, those fights end very quickly. This isn't even her. This isn't even Gina's. This isn't even Ronda's fastest submission. I think she has one at 14 seconds as well. This is what Ronda does. If Ronda stays in the match too long and she's up against a striker, Ronda will lose. We've seen it happen. Ronda cannot handle getting punched. Ronda cannot handle being kicked. Ronda is a submission specialist. That is what she does. So, that being said, is it disappointing that she lost? 1,000,000%. But being disappointed about the event and trying to rationalize why things happened the way that they did, that's a whole nother thing. I've seen a lot of people trying to say that this was a conspiracy, that this was that the fight was thrown. A lot of people trying to say that this was just them trying to get their bag and walk away. That Gina threw the fight. Seen a lot of things like that. It wasn't a conspiracy. This went the exact way that UFC events go. We all said it. We knew that Gina doesn't have the ground game. And you could see the ring rust on Gina when it started. When she threw the kick, if she had connected with that kick, she might have knocked Ronda the fuck out. That's the thing. If she would have kicked Gina kicked Ronda in the face, let me put it to you this way. Would we still be having this conversation? Would people still be upset and think it was a thrown fight? Some people would, but a lot of people, would they still feel the same way if Ronda goes running in there to shoot on Gina and Gina just brings a knee up into her face or just kicks her across the skull and knocks Ronda the fuck out and we get Gina Carano knockout in 15 seconds? I don't think so. I don't think there would have been that much backlash if she had knocked Ronda the fuck out in the first 15 seconds of that fight. What was disappointing was that it goes to the ground and then you could see Gina went right away for the guillotine choke, couldn't sink it in. She couldn't lock it in. Ronda was trying to decide what to do because you can see Ronda's panicking. Whether or not it feels like that, Ronda definitely panics in that moment because if she gets the guillotine locked in, Gina knocks her the fuck out. Again, the submission specialist kicks in, she moves her arm, Gina goes to adjust and leaves her arm available, and Ronda goes right for the arm bar. It's what she does. SCD said, stop with the Ronda always does this cope. We all knew this. What was the point of training if not to stop that specifically? Okay, let me ask you this then. Let me put it to you this way. If you train for a fighter and you know their tendencies and you train and train and train and train, every single person that Ronda Rousey has fought has trained against her, preparing for her to do what she does. The quick takedown, the quick submission. Every single person. And yet she's done it 9 times. She's won 9 times with submissions. So the question is like, you could train for it and it still not work. Still not go the way you wanted it to be. You want it to go. I understand the disappointment. I get being disappointed. I really do. Real quick, Bohica says it was a farce. 17 seconds. She could have defended that first attack no matter what. I'll always be Team Gina, but damn. I think it's just the ring rust, man. I'm not saying it was good, but that's ring rust. That's ring rust. That's what's happening there. Like I haven't fought in 17 years and I wasn't prepared to fight at the level that I'm fighting at right now with Ronda. I think this is speculation, but I think Gina fighting a smaller card person first to really kind of get back into it, shake the rust off, really get used to it. You know, losing 100 pounds that quickly and training during that whole time at a calorie deficit and stuff, all those things 100% contributing to what happened there. But you're not talking about just anybody. I don't even like Ronda Rousey that much. She is one of the best submission specialists ever in the women's division. Ronda's a legend. She's not, this isn't some fly-by-night random person. This isn't like, you know, Tammy Duvain, you know, from Virginia, who just like showed up and just like dropped Gina Carano. You put her in there with one of the best submission specialists in the world. And Gina was expecting a fight and was not expecting Ronda to try to put her away that early. And I say this again, as somebody who's watched a lot of MMA events, there have been so many that I've paid for or help pay for and split the bill on with people, and we watch it and it's over, and the big fight that we're expecting is over, and then one of the mid-card fights goes the entire distance and goes to decision, and then the rest of it, you know, like the big fight that we're all expecting is over in like a couple minutes, maybe less, and everybody goes home disappointed because things didn't go the way that they wanted it to. So I think trying to frame it as some kind of throne fight or some kind of conspiracy or some kind of like Gina didn't try, I don't think any of that is what happened. I don't think any of that is what happened. Like, it's disappointing that the fight went the way that it did. It's a bummer. It sucks that Gina was not more prepared. It sucks that she wasn't able to throw down with Ronda like she wanted to. But Ronda did exactly what Ronda does every time. And she was not ready for it. And that sucks. It's like if you go, it's like fighting Anderson Silva and not expecting him to throw a fucking front kick at you. And so you go to start the fight and you go to shoot on him and he front kicks you right in the jaw and you get knocked the fuck out. And so SED says none of the other G&G members will flat admit the fight sucked. Every one of you all have the same excuse. What excuse is there? SED, okay, this is how we're gonna do this, okay? SED, you've been on my chat a long time. I have made zero qualms. Zero. Masvidal wins in 5 seconds with a knee. Zero qualms about telling you whether or not I liked something. I have made zero qualms. I'll tell you flat out if I'm shilling, if I'm biased. I like Gina. I'm a huge fan of Gina Carano. I was a fan of Gina Carano before all the nonsense with Disney started. I've always been in Gina's corner. I've always liked her. I've always thought she was a class act. The woman dated Superman, for goodness sake. And this attitude that I'm somehow sweeping for her, my friend lost a fight that she trained really hard for. It sucks. But I'm not going to sit there and try to accuse her of throwing a fight that I don't think she threw, because I don't think she threw it. I'm not sweeping for Gina. The fight sucked because I wanted to see her throw down with Ronda Rousey. I wanted to see her throw down and throw kicks and throw punches. I wanted to see her Muay Thai. She looked ready to fight. She looked fast on her feet. Her handwork, her footwork looked great. But she's up against Ronda fucking Rousey. Ronda's not going to stand up with anybody because Ronda's at a massive disadvantage to stand up. Ronda's never going to do that. Ronda's not going to let the fight go out. Ronda's going to try to get it over with and go to the thing that she knows how to do. I am not sweeping for Gina. I am not trying to make excuses for Gina. But we all knew what was going to happen if that fight went to the ground. And watching somebody that you're a fan of lose that quickly sucks. It really does. It really sucks. But I'm still a fan of Gina. And I think, and you said it, two things can be true. You're absolutely correct. But I think some of this perspective is that we pulled for Gina and we're such fans of Gina, and some of us are close friends with Gina. And I think everybody just, when something like this happens or something disappointing like this happens, people look for blame, look to put blame on people. And I'm not just saying that you, SCDA, there's a lot of people that were far worse and said a lot of really nasty shit. I saw people block me over this fight. People talking shit to Gina about this fight. People are like, I was a huge fan of you. One guy was like, I bet $1,000 on Gina and she fucking threw this fight. She just got her bag and ran off with it. Some people saying, well, she didn't deserve any money. I can't believe she got paid for that. It's like, that's what you sign up for. If you sign up for, like I said, this isn't boxing. You can get knocked the fuck out in the first round of boxing too. But this isn't boxing where you have one discipline to concern yourself with.
No.
It's just about outthinking the other guy and not getting punched in the face as hard as they possibly can hit you. MMA is a whole different ball game and can be over in a matter of seconds with a kick or a submission. Happened, Nate Diaz get hit in the fucking eye the wrong way, doesn't stop bleeding, and now the fight gets ended. I was disappointed because I didn't get to see Gina fight more, but I think some of the response to this has been, I think people were putting a lot of hope on Gina to surprise them or do something they didn't expect. And I say this a lot, and I think this is important perspective. If in the zeitgeist of the internet and the streaming community that you're part of or watching, you see a thing that happens that is inconsistent with what you know of a person, what is more likely to be true? The new information or what you've known of that person? If you've known somebody to be characteristically honest or you know, and straightforward and a straight shooter with you, and then something comes out that makes it seem like that's not the case, well, then you have to ask yourself, what's the more likely conclusion? The reality is, like, I didn't want to see Gina lose. And I'm not going to shit on Gina for losing a fight. I have no interest in doing that. Why would I do that? It doesn't mean I can't be disappointed that she didn't win that fight. And it doesn't mean that I'm not massively disappointed that the fight ended in 17 seconds, because I really wanted her to win. And I was really hoping she did well. And she didn't. And that really sucks. So, I'm a Franker Z for 5 says, been having some Beardo level diarrhea today, going to bed, hopefully be able to work in the morning. Hope everything goes well with the fam. Thank you. I understand that. I had diarrhea this morning too. I hope you feel better, bro. Get some rest. Appreciate you hanging out. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 5 says, I know nothing about MMA, but I know sports, anything can happen. Well, that's the other thing too. Some of this, and I'm not saying anybody in chat here, but I'm saying in general, a lot of what happened was a lot of people, this was their very first MMA event. And like I said, their perspective was boxing. It was going to be boxing, or it was going to be professional wrestling. Those are the two contexts that they would have for it, and expecting this long drawn out thing and not for her to get put away that quickly. A lot of people didn't even know who Ronda Rousey was. They just knew who Gina was, and probably didn't know much about her fighting career either. So Bohiga for 5 says, I'll be Team Gina no matter what. With Ronda having expecting to have offspring with a 17-second finish is unrealistic. That's wild. But yeah, I understand being disappointed. I do. I get it. I 1,000,000% understand being disappointed in this fight. But I'm not disappointed in Gina. I'm disappointed in the fight. And I think that that's the difference. And I think sometimes people have to rationalize it for themselves and make sense of it to themselves. But I also like I said, I saw a lot of people crashing out, trying to make this some grand conspiracy that Gina somehow hustled everybody or somehow tricked everyone, that her and Ronda behind the scenes went behind the curtain and went, so I'm just going to run out there and I'm going to immediately like tackle you to the ground and get an arm bar on you, and that was going to be it. No, I'm sorry. SCD for 5 says, betting on Gina was a mistake from the start. Betting odds were stacked in Ronda's favor, so anyone complaining about it, that's just bad betting. That's true too. But if you lose a bunch of money on Gina and you get angry about it and you try to say she threw the fight, is that Gina or is that you? You know? And I think that that's also what we're running into. So it was a bummer. But like I said, it's like, who in their right mind would go, yo, any amount of money is worth getting severe brain damage to get punched in the face or kicked in the face, or potentially have my shoulder dislocated, and also have that happen within 17 seconds of something that I've been training for. You know, the reality is, like, if it was rigged, like a lot of people are trying to say it was, the benefit and the right thing to do would have it go the full 5 rounds and go to a decision, or have it end in the 3rd round with a surprising knockout or a surprising submission. The 17-second fights, 45-second fights, 30-second fights, quick knockouts, fights not going past the 1st round, that's not good for business. It's not good for business, and they don't want that to happen. They would rather those fights go the distance so that they can make more money, they can make more concessions, they can build more hype. But this is MMA, and you can't fake that. So, Bohica for 5 says, Gina is still a trailblazer for women's MMA, 100%. She will always be the icon that she is, personally and professionally. I am always going to be on Team Gina. But I understand being disappointed, and I think being disappointed is different than throwing out accusations. Being mad at the people in Geeks and Gamers, like, it'd be one thing if they were like, oh man, that was a rigged fight and Ronda cheated or something like that. People being disappointed in the event. I've seen worse events than this. I've seen worse fights than this. I'm bummed out that my favorite fighter did not do well. I'm bummed out that my favorite fighter didn't get her time to throw down like that. So the event's sucking because of that. You also got to remember, I've been watching WWE recently and having to watch like constant ads and constant ad placement and all this stuff. I'm sorry, but like the stuff with Francis Ngannou, first of all, I love that fight with Francis. Second of all, him and Jon Jones like calling each other out is fucking awesome. Watching Francis Ngannou make fun of Jake Paul, who promoted the event, fucking hilarious to me. That shit is great. You know? So I get it. And I understand, you know, this being like, you know what, I don't want to watch MMA fights anymore if it's going to be like this. I get that too. But I'm not sweeping for her. I'm not sweeping for Ronda or the event or anything. It's just, I get why people are disappointed in it. I'm proud of Gina for going out there and trying to do it. I'm bummed out that she wasn't able to really show people what she can do and remind people why she's such a great striker. But I also am not surprised that Ronda did exactly what Ronda does. So, so yeah, all the love to Gina still. I'm still a huge fan of her. I think she's amazing. I love what she's doing for herself. I love that she's revitalizing her career. Oh, the boxing match. Yeah, Ronda would have never agreed to a boxing match. There's no way. Ronda is not a boxer. Ronda is not a stand-up specialist at all. So, I think Jon Jones would 100% fight if it was 2 years ago. His body had been declining. Well, that's true, SCD. He also, I think, is under contract with UFC, and somebody said that Dana's never going to let him out of that contract because it's bad for business. Somebody brought it up this way. This guy I watch, he does like short videos and stuff. He's a martial artist. He talks about comic books and stuff too. But he talked about it. He just said, like, for Jon Jones, specifically Jon Jones, you know, it used to be that the apex of like MMA was synonymous with UFC. It was synonymous with the UFC. And so being a UFC champion was the top of the top. That meant you were one of the best in MMA. It didn't matter. The perception was just that you were one of the best if you were in the MMA, or you in the UFC and had a title in the UFC. Regardless of other promotions or whether or not you were a good fighter and just never signed with the UFC. Because there are a lot of great fighters that never signed with the UFC. Jon Jones kind of transcended that to another level because Jon Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Like, hands down, probably the best martial artist we've ever seen, or as far as a mixed martial artist we've ever seen. I still think there are some fighters, especially in the MMA, that, in my personal opinion, are because they're not heavyweights. It's like once you get into the category of heavyweights, you're looking at a situation where guys that are smaller than them aren't going to be able to take them. And so there's, in my opinion, or my thought, there's like a prestige to being in the heavyweight division because you're the strongest of the strong. And so like Jon Jones being in the heavyweight division, and I think he was light heavyweight for a little while too and stuff. I don't know that there's anybody in the world that could beat him, but there are some guys out there like Anderson Silva. I think George St. Pierre. Yep, I saw somebody put George St. Pierre in there. Randy Couture. What's his name? Is it Vitor? Is it Vitor Belfort? That was the one that was retired before he got there. There are some like goats. Don Fry. Don Fry is fucking great too. There are some guys in the pantheon of MMA, mixed martial arts, that I would argue are as good as Jon across the board, but because Jon's a heavyweight, they couldn't fight him. If they were heavyweights, maybe. You know, if George St. Pierre became a heavyweight, do I think George St. Pierre could beat Jon Jones? Possibly. There are some really great guys. Ken Shamrock, Dan Severin. There are some amazing fighters that have come along in different weight classes that are synonymous with greatness. But once again, it comes down to if George St. Pierre and Jon Jones were to fight, Jon Jones would beat George St. Pierre. Jon Jones would destroy him. But if George St. Pierre becomes a heavyweight and fights Jon Jones, I don't know how that goes. Maybe that doesn't go the same way. But I just say that to say Jon Jones is one of the best fighters of all time. Probably the best heavyweight fighter in MMA of all time. And I say all that to say this guy was explaining Jon Jones kind of transcended the UFC. I wouldn't say he's bigger than the UFC, but he's synonymous with greatness now on his own, regardless of whether he holds a title or not with the UFC. So for Jon Jones to be under contract to Dana White, to have retired from fighting, and then to be asked, hey, will you fight this other guy in this other promotion? Well, that doesn't look good for him. That doesn't look good for Dana White to let Jon Jones out of a contract and go fight somewhere else against somebody like Francis Ngannou, a guy who has had his own problems with Dana White, and for that fight to happen. That's bad for business. So there's no way that Dana White's going to let that happen, which is unfortunate. So the ball kind of is in Dana's court, and I don't think he's ever going to let Jon go out there and fight if it means that it's going to make him look bad. So but Jon's one of the best. I also love how many of you guys are like fighting fans. Bohica for 5 says Lego Batman has too many vocal clues, just like God of War Ragnarok, and the Batwoman voice actor is horrible. I want to ice pick my ears. Really? Is it that bad? That's one of the things I kind of love about Lego Batman is that there wasn't a ton of talking and a ton of hand holding. Like some of the puzzles are pretty great. So hold on, I gotta catch up on super chats. I'm behind on a couple. Apologies for taking so long to get to these. Call sign Hutch for 5 says here for Ken and B so he can help you out going through some shit, but God always wins. Love you all. Thank you. Call sign Hutch. I hope you're doing well, bro. Thank you for popping in and hanging out with us. People Poopa Man for $1. That's thank you, Pee Poopa Man. John T for 10. Definitely ring rust. The thing you can't let Ronda do is take you down. She needs to come out moving and throwing punches. Fight her like a boxer. Ronda can't fight standing up. I 100% agree. I think if she could have kept it up, kept it standing up, I think she would have beat Ronda soundly. Ronda also struggles in longer engagements, but yeah. Kimbo Slice. Oh my God. I like Kimbo Slice. I don't think Kimbo Slice was ever one of the greatest, in my personal opinion. He struggled to adjust a lot. He still was a good fighter, but he really struggled to adjust to MMA. MCU fan for 20 says nothing. Hey, thank you, MCU fan, for the 20. Appreciate you. Shout out. MCU fan 2. So this is Simpy squared. Probably has a no fight clause. I think he does. So Luminary says, why do you in your group block everyone? My group? I don't block anybody. The only time I ever block anybody on social media is if you're spamming my shit. That's the quickest way to get blocked. I don't really usually block people. I mute people. But if you're spamming all my shit, I'll block you. Like John Delarose, I blocked his fucking ass because he got mad about something that I said. Well, because I called him out for being more focused on money than he is on his being a Christian, which he is. But he so he just started showing up on all of my posts and commenting on all of my shit, and then showing up in my inbox and messaging me there. So I block him on X because I don't want to even interact with the guy. So he sends me a fucking email within less than 5 minutes. Somehow looked up my email, which, like, it's not hard to find my email. The point is, you messaged me within 5 minutes of me blocking you on Twitter. The fuck? Like, that's the only way that you'll ever get blocked on social media. There's even some, like, fucking guy right now that I almost blocked who's crashing out because I said something about a show that he liked. And so he's just, like, commenting on all of my shit. And I don't know what he thinks you're gonna, like... I don't know what you think you're gonna accomplish. I don't know what you think you're gonna accomplish, but like that's just gonna get you blocked because I have I don't want to see your notifications and shit. So, how dare you leave out the Ice Band? Listen, I love Chuck Liddell. I absolutely do think Chuck Liddell is one of the greatest of all time, but Chuck Liddell is, in my opinion, in the lower end of the greatest of all time. I think by the end, he should have retired a lot sooner. I remember watching Chuck Liddell at the end of his career, going, "This guy needs to retire. He's got to stop." And I'm just gonna say this, and I know this will probably be hot take for a lot of people that like Chuck Liddell. I think Chuck Liddell tarnished his legacy by continuing to fight longer than he should have. I loved watching Chuck Liddell fight. He was one of my favorite fighters to watch. And by the end, he didn't have the chin that he used to have. He wasn't able to take the punches that he needed to take in order to utilize his fighting style. And it just sucked. I hated watching it. I remember watching a fight. It was one of the last fights that Chuck Liddell did. And I remember him throwing down, I don't remember who the guy was now. And they were fighting, and you watch Chuck do what he does. You watch him kind of lock in. He figures out what's going on with the guy. And then he just expects, okay, if I can eat these next two like punches, I'm going to knock this guy the fuck out. And those two punches connect, and Chuck just goes down like a fucking sack of potatoes. And I was so bummed because I loved watching him fight, but you could see he just could not take that damage anymore. And watching somebody that you think is a legend take that kind of punishment, watching somebody take that kind of punishment, oh my gosh, that's fucking hilarious. My friend just sent me a thing about me and Jon Delarose and AI breaking down our stuff. That's fucking hilarious. Conservative science fiction author Jon Delarose and pop culture commentator Epic Mike have a history of online feuding, frequently clashing over topics like comic book art, channel rivalries, and critiques of creators in the independent and mainstream comic spaces. The friction between Delarose and Epic Mike escalated a notable public dispute, Delarose even producing content critiquing Epic Mike's commentary, his defense of other internet personalities like Jeremy Griggs. aka the quartering, who Jeremy's on. That's fucking funny. The two regularly target each other's takes on social media platforms. Yeah, I don't like Jon Del Rose at all. Can't stand the guy. Yep, I can't stand the guy. Was it Rich Franklin that did that to him? But I loved watching Chuck Liddell back in the day. So I think he damaged his legacy overall. But he's a legend. He is a legend. But I wouldn't put him in the upper echelon like that anymore. Some guys were just good and they left good and they stayed good and they never damaged their legacy that way. Brock Lesnar was very in danger of doing that. I don't think that Brock Lesnar is one of the greatest of all time. He is like if there's like the pantheon of great fighters, Brock is in the greats, but not the greatest. The greats, but not the greatest. Like Rampage Jackson, Forrest Griffin, both of those guys, I still think those guys are greats. I don't know if I would call them the greatest. So, anyways. But yeah, Jon Del Rose, like I have no qualms about taking shots at him. It's funny because I've had so many people say this to me, and I do think it's an important point, and I think it makes sense to an extent. That's wild. I think there's often a perception because I'm a Christian, because I call myself a Christian, because we're supposed to be like a body of the body of Christ, that I will give the benefit of the doubt to Christians when it comes to behavior or conduct themselves, that I will side with or back the play of like Christians. Hey, have a good night, North Star. Because we're on the same team. And like to an extent that's true. I will give the benefit of the doubt to people that are Christians. Here's the thing. If I'm calling people out, at some point it's not because I haven't taken that into consideration. I stayed quiet for a long time about Melanie and some of the behaviors that I noticed that I thought were particularly unbecoming of her. And what I took issue with, and the only time I ever really took issue with her, was when she was posting things on social media that people were openly and blatantly agreeing with, that were, in my opinion, a mockery of what Christianity actually is. Oh, you're telling Bohica good night. Hey, Bohica, have a good night, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for hanging out with us and talking. As I've said before, I never have a problem with counter opinions. Same with SCD. I never have a problem with counter opinions. I appreciate you guys. As long as we remain respectful and we can maintain that you're not mischaracterizing me, we're always good. I always appreciate you guys sharing stuff. But Jon Del Rose, to me, in my opinion, I said this the other day on a stream, I would never call somebody a fake Christian I would never presume to call somebody a fake Christian because it is a instruction within the faith to not be the one that like just publicly calling people out for no reason. I don't think that it is my position, nor is it nor do I have the right to judge somebody else's walk with the Lord and their faith. I think that happens all too frequently. And I think there's a difference between trying to hold people accountable because they're somebody that you care about and because you consider them a brother in the faith and want to see them living out their best lives. I think that there's a difference between that. And I think being just downright judgmental and nasty and making judgment calls about whether or not somebody's a fake Christian or a real Christian. I have not and will never attain a level of perfection or a level of righteousness or holiness to be in that position to say that about anybody. I will say this though, if your conduct itself is unbecoming of a Christian and your attitude is that of someone who reeks of superiority and pride and arrogance, there's a reason the Bible says the God resists the proud. There's a reason that that's a specific thing pointed out. God resists the proud. Because if you believe that you are in a position to look at somebody and decide that they are unworthy of salvation, that they're unworthy of Christ's sacrifice, that they are unworthy to partake in the inheritance of who Jesus is based on Jesus's criteria, I have no respect for you. I have no respect for anyone that can do that, because how can you, someone saved by grace, look at someone else also saved by grace and decide that they are unworthy to participate in said grace? And so I have no sympathy and I have no stomach for people who utilize faith as a cudgel to put themselves above other people. You know, it's a weird line, but it's like, specifically somebody like Jon, who puts himself in a situation where everyone around him that brings any kind of correction to him is attacking him for being a Christian. That's weaponized faith. That's weaponized Christianity. You know, anytime if somebody in this chat says to me, you know, Mike, I really don't like your behavior, you know, didn't like your behavior in the Mario Kart stream, that really bothered me. And I go, well, you're just attacking me because you're a Christian. Or somebody calls me out on the internet for, why the fuck has it taken so long for you to get your Epic Verse stuff done? It's taken forever. We're really upset with you about that. And I go, you know, all of these people, and then I post, you know, I go and passive aggressively post all these people on the internet that hate me for being a Christian and for walking out my faith and living my life as a Christian and trying to serve Jesus and stuff. They all attack me and hate me because they, you know, they're not patient with me and stuff while I'm trying to do my thing. That is how Jon behaves. That is how Jon behaves on the internet. Jon acts like everyone else is against him, that nobody else likes him, that he's perpetually the victim, that he's constantly being attacked for his faith. And the thing is, he will openly and blatantly lie and mischaracterize people and reframe things and omit details and misconstrue events, all in favor of trying to protect his own reputation. And I have no stomach for that at all. Zero stomach for that. I have zero grace for that at all. At that point, your conduct is so unbecoming of Christ that you reek of like Pharisee energy. Like I have no respect for that at all. And I see similar energy like that from Melanie. Anytime she gets any pushback, she leans heavy into the faith thing. Well, you know, y'all, I'm just a Christian and I don't want to be part of all this drama and I don't want to be all that stuff. And then we'll then perpetuate the drama or say things. And not being accountable for that. Like you're trying to not be, you want to shift the way that you act and talk about things. You know, being saved by grace doesn't mean you don't acknowledge your own faults. It's actually the opposite. More acknowledging of those faults and more acknowledging of those issues. Your language as a Christian should, if you want to follow an example, it should be like Paul, who went from, you know, the least of all saints to the chief of all sinners, because the closer he got to Jesus, the more aware he was of his own shortcomings and failings and brokenness. And that awareness actually made him more keenly aware of the grace that he was living in. And then by extension, giving that grace to everyone else around him as well. And if your walk with Jesus does not produce more humility and more grace for sinners, and it actually makes you spam calling gay people the F slur more, and it makes you spam out. It makes you attack your friends around you that you and other fellow Christians that are calling you out for your behavior, and it makes you call them out and attack them and pretend like they're doing something wrong. If you can't see how you being in a corner with people around you that you're supposedly supposed to trust and value their opinions, and you're blaming them and telling them that they're in the wrong, you can't see how that is unbecoming of like somebody who's supposed to be living in grace. Like, I have no stomach for that. So yeah, of everyone in our circle that I know of personally, who I have interacted with and came interaction with, and even had disagreements with, there is not a single person, and I mean this, there's not a single person who I think is more disgusting, more dangerous, more manipulative, and or closer to the living embodiment and living definition of evil than John Delarose. And I mean that. I mean that with the utmost part of my being. And I don't care if somebody wants to clip that out and share that. I don't, because I legitimately think he may be like the closest I've met to an evil human being because of how sociopathic his tendencies are, because of the way he behaves, the way he talks, the way he acts, and then to put Jesus on it and label it Jesus, and then to turn around and judge people for not being Catholic and not being all of this stuff. And he's not even a good Catholic. Like, you cannot convince me any way other than that. But I don't think Melanie's evil. I don't think Melanie is a bad person. I think Melanie is very confused about what's going on in her life. And I think that faith provides a good shield to not have to face the person that she's looking at in the mirror sometimes. And that's really unfortunate for her. And all that being said, and I really do mean this, because I actually try to live this in my own life, and it's not always easy. I actually try to pray for people that I think ideologically or even ideologically or fundamentally are my enemies. I wouldn't say Melanie's my enemy. I would probably say John is probably an enemy. But I pray for them. I pray that their growth with the Lord and their walk with the Lord grows. I pray that the faith that they so deeply hold and want to live by, that they find the best version of it, that they find the best version of who Jesus is, that and then that he can present himself to them. And I absolutely pray that, that they find the abundant life that Jesus promised us by following him. But right now, I don't see them living that out at all. And I think that they actively harm other people around them. And that scripture of like, if you cause any one of these little ones to stumble, like, better be a millstone be tied around your neck. The amount of people that have been turned off by their rhetoric and their nonsense that they spew and have probably walked away from the faith or been so confused. And I say this as somebody who has talked to a lot of people who have said, I don't understand. I didn't think this was supposed to be how Christians acted. And I've talked with and had deep conversations with people, strangers on the internet, that were confused by a post or confused by someone's behavior and said, I don't understand what this means. Their behavior is unbecoming of people that are trying to lead other people to Christ. So that's all I have to say about that. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 5, humble sinner here. Stuff like that turns people away from Christianity and more into the arms of the enemy. I agree. I absolutely agree. SED for 5, disrespectful tax. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. It's a weird spot. And you know, I've been trying to like, I haven't got a video out. I've been wanting to make a video on this for a while, and I still probably will. Because I think it's important. You know, I am fully of the belief that as people who claim to follow and serve a God who even just reading the Bible, even if you read the Bible in the context of somebody who just thinks it's like a guideline and doesn't take any literal interpretation of it and just takes it as a metaphorical thing, even if you're somebody that does that, which I'm not saying I am, I'm saying people that do not treat the Bible like the inerrant word of God, and treat it like a book of stories to guide us on how to live and conduct ourselves, and a book of stories and examples and conversations and parables that reveal who God is to his people and reveal who God is and reveal a creator to his creation. Even in that, there's enough creativity, there's enough storytelling, there's enough deeply profound statements made in the Bible that people that are Christians who want to be artists or want to be writers and things like that should not be capable of producing some of the best art in the world. And I don't see that happening. I feel like I see more people divided by money and more divided by return on investment and more people divided by how can I make a profit, like profit-based thinking, than I do people who are just deeply passionate about expressing something or expressing a fundamental part of who they think God is or who they have witnessed God to be in their own lives. Through fiction or through personal testimony, any of those things, there's a reason that stories like that often do really well. When you see a biopic about a person who was devastatingly convicted to something like faith and living that out and it inspiring other people around them, I think that that's really important. And I don't think that we see a lot of that happening in conservative corners. And I think that that is fundamentally a massive mistake on the ideology of conservatism. Not that conservatives can't make good things, because I think they can. I think a lot of them are more margin-based and profit-based and more politically driven and motivated than they are driven by art and artistic expression. And when we're not creating things, there is no counter to what society is seeing or expressing, and all they're getting is whatever person happens to find the zeitgeist at the right time and get hot at the right time to produce storytelling. And sometimes there will be people that produce great stories that are profound and are deeply representative of the human experience, like Night of the Seven Kingdoms. But there's also a lot of mixture in that too. And I often look at things like the Sistine Chapel and look at Notre Dame and these buildings that I know were also partially motivated by political design to create a gaudy show of things. But there are builders and creators and architects and engineers that have crafted some of the most beautiful, most profound pieces of artistry and profound pieces of architecture in the world. Things that have stood not just the test of time over decades or centuries, but even millennia, that were expressions of and to honor their religion or their belief or their faith. Honor God, to honor God or the gods in some cases for some religions and things. Those things are things that stand the test of time. Those are things that stand the test of time, and I think those are things that profoundly remind us why we're human and of the human experience. And I do not see that happening today, especially within the people that claim to serve a creator who crafted. If you truly believe God is the creator of all things, like, then I have not seen Hacksaw Ridge. I don't even own it. I have Josiah's copy of Hacksaw Ridge that he gave to me like 9 years ago or something, and I still haven't watched it. I keep forgetting. I hold myself to this conviction too, but I'm a pretty creative person. I just haven't produced anything at the level that I want to produce things, but I think anybody that has the capability to produce things and are not producing things, and then judge other people for where they go or what they consume when it comes to artistry or storytelling or entertainment. I think that that's like a really big fundamental failing. Like to sit in a chair and look at somebody and go, huh, well, like, I don't like what you're doing. And you're like, okay, you don't have to like it. Nobody's telling you you have to like it. But to not provide a counter to it and be capable of it. That's the other thing. Not everybody's a creative. Not everybody's capable of making art. Not everybody's capable of making good movies or good television shows or writing books. But the people that are looking around at other people that are doing stuff and not liking what they're doing and not creative themselves, it's like, okay, well, you got to provide something. And whatever you're providing, if you're connected to the source of all creation, what you're creating should have it should feel like that level of creativity is baked into it fundamentally. You are not under personal attack, no. Anjanette just became, just gifted a channel membership. Thank you, Anjanette. I appreciate you. Because I actually think you've created things, so you have absolutely created things over the years. I have been blessed to be a part of those creations and got to see them happen and see them play out, and I've loved every minute of watching that. But it's like, you know, if you're somebody that wants to be an actor and you believe that, and you're a Christian and you live that out, why are there, and not everybody, but why are there a lot of actors who are considered like that work in exclusively Christian spaces that are terrible actors and terrible at their craft? Why is Christian media so poorly done and poorly crafted? And why is it always so much more amateur than people that are currently making films? Why is Christian music, why has it become so milquetoast and formulaic when it is supposed to be an expression of, like, in a celebration of our connection to, like, the creator? Like, why is that okay? Why is that excused? And a lot of times the reality is because people don't care. A lot of people in churches, a lot of people in conservative leadership do not think art and entertainment is important. They don't think it's important. They don't think it's necessary. They think that politics and money and power and profit are the ways to create change and to affect the world around them. And I think that is a fundamental misunderstanding of the human condition. Because my counter to that would be, if entertainment wasn't important, if art wasn't important, then why did Jesus tell parables? Why did Jesus tell so many stories? Why did he give us the Bible? Like, if we're not supposed to create and tell stories, it's what we have. Like, there's a reason the Bible talks about our testimony being one of our greatest weapons, or one of our greatest tools as Christians, because you're telling a story to people, and that story helps people relate to you and understand you as a person, and that fundamental understanding of you as a person and the human experience helps other people to relate to what you're saying, so that they can be open to experiencing what you've experienced. There's only so much that preaching about something can do to produce conviction, but conviction doesn't always produce evidence. Or, like, conviction doesn't always produce productivity. I can be convicted about being overweight, but it's still until the day that I go, you know what? I need to sit down and actually do something about this. You know, that's why I always tell people, like, shaming me was never going to work. You can call me fat and tell me I'm a fat piece of shit and tell me I'm going to die of a heart attack and stuff and I need to eat healthy. None of that would have ever motivated me to eat healthier. What motivated me to eat healthier was having a special needs child that I realize is just going to continue to get bigger and heavier, and going to need a father that can continue to carry her and lift her and protect her at a level that currently my body was not capable of doing. I'm looking 5 years down the line and going, when she's older and bigger, I'm not going to be able to help her get into her, wheelchair. I'm not going to be able to carry her out of her bed and do the things I need to do unless I get in better shape. And so I changed because I had a realization about something, and that click was what did it. Not people going, you're fat. I'm like, okay. There's a reason that, like, Jesus told stories. Those stories produce seeds, and those seeds take time, and they take root, and they take hold, especially when it's something that you can understand or come to the conclusion of on your own. And that's how art works. And that's how entertainment works. You consume a thing, and then you disseminate that thing, and your brain processes that. And if it's something of worth to you, you will take that and you'll let it take hold in you, and then it'll become a fundamental part of who you are as a person because you've decided to let that happen. And something that doesn't have that, you'll reject. Star Wars resonates with so many people because the ideas of good and evil and black and white and connecting to the world around you and becoming something bigger than yourself resonates with people on a fundamental level. George Lucas distilled the idea of the hero's journey into like the most concentrated form that he could put to screen, and it resonated with people because of that. So, I don't know. Just musings. I'm going to work on a video about this at some point, but I just got to get through the rest of this week. And I was glad I got to stream with you guys. I am going to call it here, though, because I do got to get up in the morning. I get up and take my kids to school because father life never ends. But guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Apologies for the late start. I love that we went all over the place. We went from like talking about Wishbone and Ghost Rider to MMA to conservative and Christian art. I dig it. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to call it here. I have daily tomorrow with the S+ tier team. So go check that out. That should be a good time. Maybe streaming after that, maybe working on a video, maybe one of the two, I don't know. Epic Verse Thursday. I'm on F&T Friday, and then also going to be streaming in the evening on Friday. Maybe we'll finish up Mouse PI. We'll do something. I appreciate you guys very much. Don't forget, oh yeah, we also talked about feed as well. I like how I have the nerdy custodian and the nerdy mechanic both in my chat. That's pretty funny. But I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys are blessed. I hope you guys, oh, did I miss your super chat? Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. Hold on. Let me catch the last super chat here. Andrew Fraser Jr. for 2 says, thanks. You know how much your words help us. Well, thank you, Andrew. That means a lot to me. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for letting me know I caught it. So, is Beardo on F&T? Is he going to be on the one F&T that Gary is not on? Did they actually like grab him for the backup F&T? Oh boy. Maybe I don't want to be on F&T now. Maybe I'll find a way to get off of there for the night and just not be there. Is he actually going to be on F&T? Huh. That should be interesting. But anyways, guys, I'm going to call it. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. And I will talk to you guys all really soon. Later.